Oh yeah, there we go.
I just did it. I would click. I can't do it because I'm using my own sign in and it's not paid for, so it won't let me.
Oh yeah. That's where it is. Okay. Well, we're here today to discuss the Myricx bio deal with Novartis that was announced earlier this week, which was the second biggest upfront for preclinical since 2020. And it would appear as if the biggest reason for this deal was their payload, their NMTs, which appears to have improved efficacy and enabled them to overcome resistance, which is associated usually with the topo 1. Any comments on this, Dan, Ryan?
I mean, I'm happy to go. So I think the thing that people need to think about with cancers is that everything develops resistance eventually. So even something as well established as like in HER2, targeting HER2 is going to hit resistance. So having a suite of new molecules that are going to kill HER2 positive cancer cells just adds more and more to that kind of armory. So that's what Novartis have picked up. It's great that they've picked up the antibodies too, but they now also have this payload that they can effectively put on any antibody they like and direct it to any cancer cells they like. And I think that's the thing under the surface that people aren't maybe going to see immediately.
Yeah, exactly, because they can just plug it onto their pre-existing assets more or less, and then they also get new IP along with this. Yeah, completely new assets. They might not even have to look for new targets. They can just go, as you said, with the previous one, the HER2, TROP2, B7H3 that they already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty interesting indeed. So
yeah, I think the reason they probably have HER2 on the roster is because it's so well established as a target. They have more or less, they don't have to defend the antibody in this circumstance. They're just looking at the payload. And
I
then
mean,
when
and
they can
HER2 is the best-selling ADC thus far. It had 4.99 billion US in sales last year. So I mean, so far it's the best-selling ADC at least. And as you say, like hugely well-validated target. It seems to become closer to overtaking normal chemo for breast cancer, like to become the first line treatment instead of where it sits at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Something else I found interesting about it was that it started as a small molecule, where they're NMT.
Yeah. So I think this is from the Francis Crick Institute in London, and they were working on these NMTs. So this is it's basically a small fatty chain that gets stuck onto enzymes, and this helps to regulate them. So it's a type of post-translational modification, and we know a lot about post-translational modifications in drugs because the whole degrader tech is based on weaponizing post-translational modifications. And what they were trying to do is shut off the addition of this fatty chain on certain enzymes so you can switch them off. So if you imagine you've got cancer cells that are hyperactivating through this fatty chain addition to an enzyme, if you can kill that at the source, you can kill the cancer cells. That's the idea. And by coupling that with ADC technology, you are able to take something that is a really potent drug that would kill your healthy cells and take it only to the cells you wanted to go to. So that's where this sticking those two things together, that idea of having this really potent anti-cancer drug and also sticking it onto something that's going to take it to the right place. That's where ADCs really do their magic.
Yeah, exactly. They're like a heat-seeking missile, more or less, is the old saying,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
they're supposed to target the tumor. Uh, yeah, well, it's really interesting development that they had,
Hmm.
and the fact that they had to pivot from small molecules to ADCs, and how they managed to make it work,
Yeah.
um, despite only being a few people up until they did their latest fundraising round in
Hmm.
2024. There were only
Yeah.
three people, more or less.
Yeah.
So, quite the accomplishment by the team.
Absolutely. But Ed Tate, who is from the Francis Crick, who's sort of behind this technology, he has been a leader in this field for a long, long time. So the knowledge base has really been there from the beginning. And what's been quite interesting is the change in leadership as it's run up to the deal, brought in more and more experienced people in the direction they want to go. And recently they brought in Moet Rawat, who was already with Novartis for their BD. And that's actually been a real signal that this has been in the books for quite a while. They've been targeting this sale for quite some time. So it's really interesting to look at. It's a perfect marriage of a lot of very good science, very good BD work, and a really cool technology.
Yeah, I had a look at Moet, and apparently he did a deal when he that for Fusion Pharma that were
Hmm.
acquired by AstraZeneca in the same year, 2024. So he appeared to have quite extensive deal making experience. So it's funny when he, out of all people, mentioned, yeah, we were scaling things up, we got these new
Hmm.
offices, we weren't really planning to do a sale of the
Yeah,
company, and then this comes out of nowhere, like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
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 yeah.
whatever you say.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hedging there, let's just see what happens. But I think he knew what he wanted. Whether or not he knew he would get it, he knew what he wanted, and I think he's pulled it off. But it's a really nice story. I think it has all the right elements. It's a really cool drug, and I think the key thing now is that Novartis not only have this antibody set from Myricx, but they also have this payload. And it's not
Mm,
just one payload, it's a suite of small molecules as well. So, and with
mm.
I think about 20 years of patent protection. So,
Yeah,
the numbers
but
start to make
I've
sense.
seen there are others that are also working on similar payloads.
Yeah.
So the question for me would be, okay, is it worth this much? 1.1 billion upfront. Usually you might see that in total deal value, 1 to 2 billion, but
Hmm.
here they paid it in upfront. But
Yeah.
apparently they must have seen something in the data. I mean, if you looked at the poster from 2023, when they were
Hmm.
at World ADC, where they won the best poster that year, which was
Yeah.
titled NMT inhibitors are completely novel payloads for ADC that deliver extensive tumor regression at well-tolerated doses. I mean, that in itself, just the title, seems pretty promising. So obviously they must have seen something, and as you say, most likely been in the work for some time, as well as the investors they had on board, also likely
Yeah.
a credibility sign of credibility for this.
Absolutely. I think a huge weight will also be the researchers involved and where it's come from. Coming from the Francis Crick, coming from that core knowledge base of cell biology and these signaling pathways and these modifications. I mean, yeah, Ed takes a huge name in his field, so that
Mm-hmm.
will not have gone unnoticed. Put it that way.
Yeah.
That is a real consideration. So when you're looking at where these molecules are coming from, the credibility you can attach is huge.
Mm. Yeah, well, Solari was previous. He had previous ventures, I believe, where he launched
Hmm.
companies in the past. I believe he was also assisting with this, as well as obviously Andrew Bell, but also Andrew Robin Carr, who was at GSK
Hmm.
for quite a few years. And it seems like a lot of
Hmm.
them came from GSK. So another sign of, yeah, merit on their behalf. So Yeah, super
It's just
interesting.
it's a really nice. Yeah, it's great for the field. I think it's great for the ADC field, and it shows the versatility in these kind of molecules, and it shows how acquiring one part, that modularity that you can take that elsewhere, and yeah, the potential for further partnerships and further deals is big.
Yeah,
It won't
absolutely.
end with this.
And it seems as if Novartis, since they missed well, the obesity train, I heard that maybe they wanted to get some obesity assets that they were unable to acquire at the prices that they wanted.
Hmm.
So most likely they did not want to miss, or at least stay on top of ADCs,
Hmm.
let's say. Since I was a bit
Yes.
surprised, since they have a lot of radio pharma assets as well that they're developing. So this came as a bit of a
Hmm.
surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could just be circumstantial in some regard that when the right thing comes along and you've got the money to spend and you don't want competitors to have that asset,
Hmm.
you find a way to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. If there's urgency, then you'll find a way to get it done.
Yeah. And I think the connections there as well, like Mount Rawat, and I don't doubt Ed Tate's got connections there too. And yeah, I think these things might look on paper like a surprise, but when you know the people involved and who and the trust they have in each other's science, the trust that they have in the confidence and the conversations that they can have with those people, I think is a huge influence.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Makes sense.
And they want to be on the ADC wave as well, and they've got on it with something really cool because I think that having your own niche payload is potentially very lucrative going forward.
It would appear so, indeed.
Yeah.
What I actually want to touch on is the demand that we've seen in the ADCs, right? That category has been growing, and I think me and you, we've both seen the change in buyer behavior on that part, especially with the mandate that we're currently working with. We also had a couple of deals like Tubulis, 3.15 billion upfront. That's not bad. Lilly with Crossbridge Bio, also not bad. Yeah, we've seen a definite increase in demand there. 40% of the antibody
Yeah,
deals
it's a
so
very
far
interesting.
were
Yeah,
ADCs. So yeah.
interesting field since either you can go the route of, okay, which targets are you picking? Are you going to go with the well-validated targets? Are you going to go with some
Mhm.
more novel targets? Are you going to go bi-specific? Okay, are you going to go with one payload? Are you going to go dual payload? Okay, which linkers are you going to use? It's a very complex
Mhm.
modality, so there
Yep.
still appears to be a lot of room for improvement within the
Yep.
field. And even though it has been in the works for quite some times, but it seems like it is quite recently, like late 2010s, where it's really started to take off and started to mature, especially with the developments we've seen out of China, along with US and Europe. Europe having done several big ADC deals this year alone. So yeah, a lot's happening in the field, and it's super interesting to see if we might see more, since most of it has been for solid tumors thus far.
Mhm.
But I suspect we might start to see more for hema as well, hematological malignancies.
Mhm.
Maybe start seeing something for autoimmune potentially. You never know.
Yeah.
In,
I think autoimmune is going to be a big space because you have this capacity for very specific markers on very specific cells. So you can target cells that are going awry in certain diseases beyond cancer. Cancer is the obvious place because these cells have gone rogue and they're expressing all sorts of things on their surface that allows you to target them selectively. But if you're also looking at dampening immune cells that are behaving in a way that they shouldn't be behaving in people with certain conditions, then straight away there's a way in.
mm,
And I think you you mentioned something, Ryan, earlier about ADCs for adipocytes.
For obesity, yeah.
Yeah.
Today I've read into some biotech, some early stage biotechs, still in discovery, of course, trying to look and start up programs for to tackle obesity, specifically targeting the fat cells. So that was interesting. But I'm still looking into that, see if it has potential or not.
I mean, I think that would be so exciting, because that's just another observation of how you can take a cell type that you want rid of and target it.
That's what I was thinking. Like if they just shoot down the fat cells and they try to blow them up.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting since a lot of the money is flowing into obesity these days. It's becoming very, especially with GLP-1s. So it would be interesting to see if ADC could have application in other indications as well, like GLP-1.
Yeah. And I think the key thing as well here is that all you need in that circumstance is the antibody to take it to the right cells, because the payload doesn't matter, in the sense that if you are Novartis and you've got this new cohort of payload molecules, if you can take them to adipocyte cells, as you saw, Ryan, then you've suddenly made this molecule an anti-obesity drug. Or you can send them to a certain immune cell, you've suddenly made it, I don't know, an anti-celiac drug, who knows, all sorts of things. IBD, you could target anything, because you just have to make sure the drug only goes to the cells you want to kill.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to follow and see how this field develops, similar to GLP-1s. I mean, they're doing it for different neurological malignancies as well. I don't know everything they're doing it for these days, but quite an extensive range where they are trying it and seeing the depression. They're doing it for depression as well,
really?
I believe. Yeah, cool. I think it is either depression or addiction. Either of those, they are trying it for some companies, I believe. So, very interesting. Huge deal, obviously. Second biggest since 2020 for preclinical deals. So, quite a bit of faith from Novartis in Myricx. Will be interesting to see how they utilize it.
I mean, it's a lot of money, but I think when you actually lift the lid on that and you start to see that asset, that series of assets and their modularity, suddenly the money starts to make sense.
Yeah, most likely, because if you just look at the assets themselves, like the ones that they have, the HER2 2B7H3, maybe two others, like 1.1 billion is a lot, but for the whole platform, could make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very exciting.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, well, should we pause the video over there?
Okay.